welcome to Vintage Variety. Today I'm going to show you how I went about repairing this beautiful Art Deco necklace. Rather than having you guys watch me do everything step by step in a long drawn out video, I've kind of streamlined things. I'm going to show you what the necklace looked like before it was repaired. I'm going to show you all of the findings and parts that I used along with the tools. I'll even show you step by step how I reconstructed the necklace links and a pretty neat little trick that I figured out when I was trying to get the links on this necklace to look the way I wanted them to look. Before we get started, I also wanted to mention that I purchased this necklace from Dana Stewart over at Killer Queen Antiques. Dana is based out of the UK. She has some absolutely beautiful pieces of jewelry, anything you could imagine. Fine European antique jewelry, antique costume jewelry. She has vintage jewelry, both fine and costume, modern and designer. I have tagged her in this video and I've left a link in the description box to her channel below. So if you haven't watched Dana yet, go over and check her channel out for some beautiful jewelry and be sure to subscribe. So let's get started and let me show you how I went about repairing this necklace. This is how the necklace looked before it was repaired. I purchased this necklace in a lot of craft, wear, and repair jewelry. So most of the pieces in that lot either needed some sort of repair or they were pieces that could be used for repairing other pieces. The necklace is in overall good condition. It still has the beautiful glass focal point beads at the front of it and some of the smaller glass beads that are located between the links. But at one time or the other, this necklace was broken, so it's missing pretty good sized portions of chain on each side along with the necklace clasp. So I had to figure out how I was going to put this necklace back together, what type of beads I was going to use, because I did want the necklace to look right, and then I had to decide what length I wanted the necklace to be. I also want to give you guys a closer look at the necklace and the overall construction. When I was first looking at this necklace, I thought that perhaps some of the coating had worn off, because here in the front you can see that on each side there is a silver tone bead, and between the focal beads there are also silver tone bead caps. But I don't think that's the case with this necklace. I think that it was meant to look that way. It was meant to be silver toned in the front and gold tone in the back. And I have seen two-tone necklaces before. I think that it's just beautiful the way it is. All of the wire used in this necklace, the tubular links, and of course the jump rings, those are all gold tone. So that kind of gave me an idea when it came to the materials that I needed to use. I knew I needed jewelry wire, some jump rings, and of course some long tubular beads. Another thing missing with this necklace is the tiny little round glass beads that you see between the links. And of course we know that part of the chain was broken off on each side. And I thought, you know what, that's okay. There's enough of those tiny little round beads that they can be seen when the necklace is worn. So towards the back of the necklace, I felt like I didn't really have to have those. I could just use tubular links to put this necklace back together. The problem was figuring out where I could get the links that would be either the right size or close to the right size. For reconstructing the missing parts of the chain of this necklace, I probably could have just made simple links, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted this necklace to look as close to its original state as possible. I ended up finding these beads on Amazon. These are tubular spacer beads. They're hollow in the center, which works out perfectly because in order to link these beads together, I needed to make some homemade findings using jewelry wire. And I will show you guys how I did that later in the content. These beads are pretty much the right size when it comes to how thick they are, but they're a little shorter than the original beads. And that's okay because these are going at the back part of the necklace on each side. Then I ran into another problem. I felt like these beads were really going to stand out because they are a really glossy finish. whereas the original beads on the necklace, they're more of a matte finish. So I had to think about this. How would I approach changing the look of these? And I came up with a really good solution. I used a nail file and just gently buffed all of these beads out. I didn't rub them hard enough to completely remove the finish. I just wanted to knock down the shininess of the finish, and I feel like that this turned out really good. So that's a really good tip that I wanted to share with you guys. If you have something like this and it's a little too shiny and you want it to look matte, you can always use a nail file. These are the replacement beads, the ones that I buffed out. And once I put them on the necklace, I could see that it worked out perfectly. The sheen of them matches the original tubular beads. Other materials that I use to reconstruct this necklace are, of course, jump rings. And when you're doing something like this, you want to stick with the same size jump rings that are on the necklace. So that was just as simple as going through my jewelry supplies until I found the right size. The next thing that I used was jewelry wire. I wanted to use a very thin jewelry wire. I chose something that I already had on hand, and I'm not really sure, but I think that this one is probably about a 20 gauge wire. This is a very soft and flexible wire, and that may not sound like a good idea because of course you don't want this necklace to fall apart. But this is what I had on hand. I'm sure you could buy a stiffer wire if you needed to, but I wanted something that was the equivalent of what was on the necklace and something that was small enough to fit through the tubes. So I have another tip for you guys. Because this wire is so soft and flexible, what you can do is you can take this wire and you can start running it between your fingers. And you're going to do this several times. Test it after you've done it a few times, and you'll notice that your wire has become a little stiffer. It's still going to be flexible and easy to work with, but it hardens the wire and it's going to be stiffer and it's not going to be so easy to come apart. So that's just a really good tip. It's one that I've used before and it really does work. You can kind of see here that the wire is quite a bit stiffer than it originally was. Now I'm going to show you how I turn those tubular beads into actual necklace links. This is a wire looping tool, and it's a lifesaver if you have problems with your hands and eyesight like I do. This one makes relatively small loops, which is perfect because this necklace doesn't have big loops on it. I needed small ended loops. But what you want to do here is you want to take your jewelry wire and you want to cut a piece long enough that you're going to have room to work with it. This is a very easy tool to use. It has a hole in the side of it. The jewelry wire goes through here and you're going to have a little bit of the wire sticking out of the hole. You don't have to have a whole lot, just enough to secure it. And then you give this a squeeze and it forms your loop for you. This is a lot easier on the hands, and you can get the exact size loop each and every time. And I'll put this on my hand so you guys can see what the loop looks like. The loop is slightly open, and that's okay because I am going to use my jewelry pliers and close that loop up a little bit tighter. But first, I'm going to go ahead and put the unlooped end through my tube. I'm going to push my tube all the way down so that it's nice and snug. And that's what that looks like. Now all I have to do is turn this around, loop the other end, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this through the tool, have a little bit of wire sticking out on the end, and then I'm just going to give it a squeeze. There's my perfectly formed loop on the other end. I did mention that these loops aren't completely closed, so what I'm going to do is I am going to take my round nose jewelry pliers and I'm just going to close that loop up so that it's nice and snug. I don't need it partially open because I am going to use jump rings to link these pieces together. So I'll just put my jump rings on them and then close up the jump ring. I almost forgot to mention what I used for the closure on this necklace. I decided to use a jump ring because that would have fit in with the period of the necklace. Not sure if that was what was originally on it, but it's close enough. These are new jump rings. I ordered these a while back because I'm always running out of them. The last thing that I wanted to tell you guys is I did lay this necklace out on my beading board, as you saw earlier at the beginning. And when you're using a beading board to determine the length of your necklace, you always want to add at least ½ inch. Like here, you can tell that it's 20 inches, 10 inches on each side. But that's not going to be the true length. If I take this off and measure this, it's going to be about 19 inches. So I kind of added ½ inch, and then adding the jump ring and the clasp to the necklace, added the other ½ inch to make this out to a full 20 inches. As for how I decided on the length of it, just looking at the way the necklace is made, it has those pretty beads in the front that are supposed to be a focal point. I felt like this necklace would have been at least a princess length or a little bit longer, because you definitely want to wear this sitting on the neck so that those beautiful beads can be seen. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like this necklace was relatively simple to repair, at least compared to some of the necklaces that I've done in the past. I'm very happy with the way this turned out, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think of this necklace? Is there anything you would have done differently? Or if you have any questions about the overall repair of the necklace, definitely drop me a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer. If you guys enjoyed today's content, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to go over and check out Dana's channel. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share this repair with me. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Ring the bell for notifications, and you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.